Good afternoon. This is Jeff Stanislow, the Chief at Chief Internet Marketing. Wanted to share with you a webinar on content marketing being still the king. I presented this to USF's College of Business a couple weeks back and thought it was relevant to share with you guys as well. So with no further ado, I'm going to get started and kind of go over the agenda. But first, a little bit about me. I've been doing this for about 20 years, digital marketing, starting off building websites, and have moved through most all facets of digital marketing, from email to search to social, and many more. And augmented reality and virtual reality are stuff that we're working on now. So I've owned an agency and I've done work for the Fortune 500 and even some unfortunate ones too. But I tend to work small to medium-sized businesses, 3 million, 5 million, and up to about $100 million, depending from there, and their resources are available. I am a host of the Business and Marketing Radio Show on AM 820 and 1040. I serve on the board of the Foundation for Advent Health. I also am on the advisory board for University of South Florida, Florida State University, and Hillsborough Community College, where I help them with their digital marketing programming. So we're going to talk about content marketing. Why is content marketing still king? Planning and strategy for content marketing, best practices, budgets, and what's going to happen in 2020 and beyond. Content marketing is going full circle. Content at the very beginning, it was considered king because that's all you had was content on a website. And so along came a company called Google that started taking this content and indexing it, making it easier for people to find. And that changed everything. So content took on a whole new meaning. There became content for search. You have an ever-going battle between white hat and black hat when it comes down to content and search. Maybe some of you remember when people used to stuff keywords into web pages, and you would see all these extra words at the bottom of the pages, and then you couldn't see them, but they were still there because they just figured out they would change the color to the same as the background. Well, Google thwarted that and got rid of all those keyword stuffing. And then you started seeing a lot of the vanity websites come up. If you were real estate agent, in Orlando, Kissimmee, Florida.com, those were loved for a while, but then again, Google changed that with an update and a change into its algorithm. So you don't see those vanity URLs as much as you did today. Which brings us kind of back to full circle, is what is really relevant in content is good content that is actually talking to the user who is seeking for that content. Also supported by relative graphics and supporting content such as images and references and snippets and things of that nature. Also, as we take a look at content today, the speed of content is becoming more important. So you're seeing less and less of your content being buried into larger images. That's because those take up a lot more bandwidth, and Google's speed, and we'll talk about this further, is becoming more and more important when it comes down to it. So again, content is king today, just as it was before. And there's a whole strategy, and we'll get into that, about content marketing and what it does. And what we do know is that Google will take a look at content, and it will continue to change everything with new releases and algorithms. And what's happening now is you're starting to see Google use artificial intelligence and machine learning in content marketing, and looking through the parts of the web that it doesn't see. Believe it or not, Google actually only indexes about 30% of the web's content at this point in time. So they're building these artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to help its reach and getting that penetration further, upwards to 75 to 100% of the content available to you online. So what is content marketing? Content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive the preferable customer action. This is brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute. You can take a look at that at the Content Marketing Institute if you like as well. But for our purpose, why is content is still king? You'll see content is part about everything that we do. It's about 95% penetration in social media. It makes up blog posts and short articles. It makes up email newsletters, in-person events, videos, case studies, infographics, webinars, white papers, ebooks, and guides. Content touches everything when it comes to web and digital marketing. But why is it still king? It promotes brand visibility and name recognition, educates audiences, supports lead generation. It increases search engine visibility, establishes thought leadership, develops relationships with audiences, creates loyalty and trust, opens a line of communication through social media and others, and it provides value with no strings attached. Plus, it moves customers through the sales process. That's why content is still king. Planning and strategy when it comes down to content marketing is important. First of all, you need to develop your team. Then you got to create a plan. And then you got to get buy-in on your plan from the executives and other stakeholders. Then you got to put a content development strategy together. You have to have a distribution strategy. You have to analyze the results. You have to optimize the campaigns. And then you have to continue your efforts. So depending on the size of your company, it could be a one-man shop and developing your team is just you. But if you're a larger organization, you should take a look at developing your team from a cross-functional disciplines within your company. Someone from marketing, someone from sales, someone from IT, someone from research and development, maybe someone at the executive level that could join you and provide all this great information, because research and development, for example, may be working on innovation that you want to talk about and let other people know what you're working on and what's coming down the pipeline that their customers can expect. So that's why it's important to have a cross-functional team for you. The content development process, basically it's a 5-step program, and you have to gather the information. You have to understand your audience. And I think this is one of the areas that a lot of small to medium-sized businesses don't spend enough time on, is understanding the audience. They think they know who they are, but you really need to build personas of your users beyond just the normal demographics of an age and they're Caucasian, their age, their location, maybe household income. Those are basic demographics. You have to really start defining their personas and understanding their psyche and what motivates them to really understand how your content can actually move them, inspire them, or get them to act. Then you have to write and create the content based on those personas. Then you have to distribute it and review and revise the content. Then you publish it and produce it. So these 5 steps are really important when it comes down. The other thing that you got to think about too is when you look at these content development process is where does it go and how does it get distributed? Are you putting it on your blog? You would write differently for your blog than you would write differently from a social post. You just have a lot more opportunity to explain what you're communicating in a blog than you do in a social post. It needs to be more concise, maybe more catching, quicker calls to action. So lots of different things that happen in regards to the content development process. Now I wanted to take a look at the types of content. You have lots of different types. You have owned media, earned media, paid media, and then you have types of content that consist of evergreen and topical. So I'm going to discuss owned media. So that is an asset of the company or yourself. It's controlled by you. You can change, add, delete, and modify this content. Something as your website would be considered an owned media asset, or your social media channels, or your blog. Whatever that you control is considered owned media. Earned media is basically the opportunity to take this content and share it with others and have other influencers grab your content and put it out there for you. So it is earned media. So you take your content and you distribute it, and then others take your content and move it forward, creating this viral effect of earned media. Then you have paid media, and paid media is where you're doing advertising and marketing. An example of paid media is a social boost. So a social boost on like Facebook will allow you to take your content and then add on top of it a paid media service where you're targeting more people that fit your persona and your target audience with your message that should resonate well. And the types of content that usually are used are evergreen content and topical. Evergreen is long lasting. You think they call it evergreen because of evergreen trees. They are around for a long time. So as you write content, it could be something that is the fundamentals of, or the principles of, or the cornerstones of something that would last a long time that you could write upon, that if someone looked at the piece of content 6 months, a year, 2 years or more, would get value from, and these principles would remain the same. Topical are things that are more relevant and going on around you in a closer time period. It could be such as the coronavirus, which is going on now, and maybe one of the reasons why you're listening to this podcast and this webinar and seminar. It could be related to some type of triggered event. Here in Tampa, where I'm at, we recently signed Tom Brady to the quarterback of the Buccaneers. And so there's a lot of topical things, content that can be written about this particular trigger. It could be an event. Events are usually topical in nature. So you understand that these are not long-lived. They don't have long cycles. Depending on what it is, its cycle could be a day, or it could be a couple months, or maybe a few months if you're planning on an event. So some of the best practices for content marketing is, again, that I can't emphasize this enough, the right message to the right audience is so very important. If you don't get that mix correct, you could be spending a lot of wasted time, energy, and effort and money because it's just not going to achieve the results that you desired. The use of variety of content formats and channels. There are, hundreds of distribution channels available to you. Some of the main ones are your website, your blog, if you're using a blog, your social media channels, of which it seems like there's 5 or maybe to 10 core ones that impact your business. For example, some of you may use Pinterest, and some of you may not. If you're a B2B manufacturer selling, CNC machines, Pinterest might not be the place for you. But if you're a restaurant and you're preparing food recipes and things of that nature, and you want to use pictures of your food, Pinterest is a great place for you. You have to communicate the benefits and advantages of your product and or service using content marketing. Always remember that the benefits to the individual user or the group of people that you're targeting is most important to communicate. You got to create the customer-centric content. You have to write to that persona, and you have to engage them. You have to dial into the what's in it for me, or the WIIFM station, and make sure that you're focused on resonating that content with something that resonates with them. Also, you should make sure that you're monitoring the competition. You should follow people that are in your industry, that are influencers or competitors, that are talking about the similar things that you would talk about, to get ideas, to see how they're communicating, what they're saying, their engagement levels, and much of great information will be available by just monitoring your competitors or other influencers that might be in your marketplace. Collaborate with all stakeholders. You want to get information back from your customer. Use your customer data to make sure your communications are resonating, your content is resonating. You can do this with surveys. You can do this with phone interviews. You can do this, invite customers, come in and join you on a webinar and talk to them about a piece of content that you want their feedback from. You need to collaborate with executives at your company to make sure the corporate message is spot on. You may want to, work with sales to make sure that, a product is ready to be sold before you start talking about it. Research and development, I mentioned previously. You also, maybe your vendors. Maybe there's opportunities for you guys to work together in a collaborative sense to take your earned media and your owned media and collaborate together in creating a louder voice. Like if you have a complementary product or a vendor that works with you, collaborate with them. Always make sure that your content is fresh, refresh it, and repurpose it. Evergreen content is great. You can go in there and make some updates and some changes to it. Maybe if a trend is being added to the core foundation of an evergreen content piece, you can add that. You can educate and demonstrate your authority. This is one of the great things about content marketing, and it allows you to really create the authority that people are looking for. One of the things that you want to do is have your brand being an authoritative brand, one that leads the industry, defines the trends, provides the direction of where people are going to go, that educates them on how to get there. And the other thing is to create what we call a closed loop analysis with your content marketing from those channels that I mentioned previously, as far as like the process to build content. You're going to want to take it from the idea thought and take it from your planning thought to the writing, the execution, the distribution, the analyzing of your content and your efforts. And then if you're doing any paid media, you're going to want to look at your return on internet spend, or return on investment, if you like. And you want to look at what that costs you in total. Just because you spent $500 on promoting a campaign, or $1,000 or $10,000 on promoting some type of campaign that you're working on, there could be twice as much time, energy, and effort in creating the content for that you don't take into consideration for your returns and your analysis in regards to what the work that you've provided has actually benefited you. Some budgets. I put this together so you just kind of get an idea what content marketing can cost. Small businesses, you can probably expect us to hire and spend $1,000 to $5,000 a month. Medium businesses, content marketing could be $5,000 to $20,000 a month. And larger businesses, $20,000 upwards to 6 and 7 figures per month just in content marketing. If you look at an organization like Nike, I mean, there are 7-figure monthly budgets on content marketing. They have influencer campaigns with their paid media channels. They have incredible expenses when it comes down to imagery, videos, and putting that content together. They have probably agencies and in-house marketers that work for them that are on salary or on a retainer basis to write the copy, to produce the spots. And then they take it and they have to use pretty much as many distribution channels as that they can to disseminate their campaigns. So you can see where larger businesses, this is a significant investment. So I wanted to just share that with you as well. So where is the future of content marketing going? Well, it's going to continue to dominate because it touches everything that we do. One of the things that we understand is that content marketing and digital marketing, for that matter, are going to demand more advanced skills. Just because you can write some copy doesn't make you a content marketer. You know, that makes you a copywriter. A content marketer is one that has the ability to do all these things that we've talked about. And especially as you're getting into the more technical and analytical side of things, when we talk about the closed loop analysis, your skill set as a content marketer or digital marketer is going to need to be able to move beyond you know, the production side of the content itself to the analytic side and our return on investment side and the closed loop analysis side of the coin. So you're going to continue to need to focus and build your skills. More focused on the right message to the right audience. With things that you can do like dynamic content building in email campaigns, for that matter, and your pay-per-click ads and things of that nature. All these messaging personalization and customization is going to continue to grow and continue to make it available. So you can build paragraphs on the fly in an email campaign based on triggers of what your audience has done. So your message will continue to be focused to the right message to the right audience at the right time as well. Channels will evolve. You can take a look at just the amount of social media channels that are available for you now compared to 5 years ago. And you can also take a look at emerging channels like TikTok. It's one of the fastest growing social media channels on the internet. It's short form video social media campaigns, but right now it's skewing younger targeted audience, you know, probably 14 to 22, 25. But as it evolves and mature, just like Snapchat has done and Instagram and others, they're going to be adding more and more abilities for businesses to get engaged with that audience. And that audience will then become more mainstream as far as their age and income and all the demographics that you want to target. Artificial intelligence and machine learning will continue to make an impact as they learn more about what people want. Google, for a good example, is if you're running any Google ads, you'll see that you get a lot of suggestions from Google to optimize your campaign. Those are created by artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms that look at your campaign and look at the audience that you're trying to reach, and then it takes a look at its kind of inventory or its capabilities, and it makes recommendations to you that you can accept or not accept. It's a beautiful thing. The challenging part about this is if you're not a professional and don't understand it, and you just continue to accept their recommendations, you can get into trouble because it can modify your campaign initiatives that you originally started off with. And now you have a complete different set of benchmarks that you're benchmarking your ROIs from. And then if you do something and it gets really deep and you don't know how to undo it or make those changes, it could get complicated as well. Another main thing that's coming down the pipe is augmented and virtual reality content becomes mainstream. You have to keep in mind that 5G is just right around the corner. You're seeing ads for it now. It's not what I consider true 5G when they talk about what they're talking about now. You have two disparate things going on. It's actually the data speeds required for 5G, the distribution required for 5G, and the equipment needs to be 5G compatible. But you're 3 to 5 years out before you're seeing true 5G where they have the repeaters on top of buildings, and your augmented reality experience where you're wearing glasses that can feed you real-time information as you're walking down the street becomes relevant. And that's going to build a whole new content marketing capability and opportunity. So But at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to create a comprehensive digital strategy. As I mentioned, I'm on the advisory group for USF digital marketing programming certifications. And, we looked at digital marketing in a digital era. You have a whole e-commerce, data analytics, and measurement aspect all tied in by your digital strategy, of which content marketing overlaps them all. So if you'd like to learn more or reach out to me and contact me about digital marketing, content marketing, or anything else, feel free to visit my website. It's www.chiefinternetmarketer.com. My email is jeff@chiefinternetmarketer.com. And you can look me up on LinkedIn. Just search Jeff Stanislow on LinkedIn and send me a note, and I'll be sure to accept you into my network. Thank you very much. This is Jeff Stanislow, the Chief at Chief Internet Marketer, and I appreciate all attending today. Have a wonderful day.